Hello, my name is Taylor Kelty, and I'm going to talk to you about my environmental project called BIRDS. It's an acronym. First of all, I live in Lake Havasu City. You can imagine the gem of this city, its namesake, is the lake. The lake is called Lake Havasu. Now, people that live here and people from out of town spend a lot of time at the lake. It's usually the reason why people come to visit here from California, from Phoenix, further away, different countries sometimes. MTV was here once and they made a big spring break special out of everybody that comes here to party. It's pretty famous. So whether it's for family beach time, jet ski races, boat days, local festivities, or like I said during spring break, people just come to watch the insanity sometimes. Which brings me to my important question. If the lake in Lake Havasu City is so gross, why do people keep coming here and just accept the fact that the lake is disgusting? First of all, it's more green than it is blue, which I think is gross. Why is it like that? It's also too opaque to see the bottom, at least when you're waist deep. You walk into your waist, you can't see your feet. That sucks. That's gross. And some people get sick. If you recently got tattooed, or if you had an open wound, or if you even have a rash, anything that could be compromised from dangerous bacteria, you're advised to not go in the lake. Like 15 years ago, some kid swimming in the lake got an amoeba up his nose and it killed him. Now, that hasn't happened since. That was kind of a freak occurrence. But something to be mindful is that when you go in this lake, there could be harmful amoebas that swim up your nose, get in your brain, and end your life. So, I think people need to start paying attention to the water quality of the lake in Lake Havasu City. And that's where this is all going to change with that acronym that I mentioned earlier. That's right. BIRDS stands for Biologically Integrated Rubber Duck System, or Biologically Integrated Rubber Ducks, depending on if you want to use the plural or singular form of birds. Rubber ducks the size of buoys. So rather than a portrait mode buoy, we're looking at landscape buoys. They're only going to be about 2.5 feet high, but they're going to be nearly 4 feet long. They're going to have solar powered sensors on their back that powers the pumps inside of them that sucks the water up, filters it, and shoots it out. That's right, these are going to be behaving kind of like real ducks, a little bit. Except inside, rather than guts, they're going to have biochar filters and microbial chambers full of beneficial bacteria that will remove heavy metals, microplastics, phosphates, organic waste, and oil. These ducks are going to be making monthly trips down the river for regular cleaning and maintenance. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's cute, but who's going to pay for it? And this is where it really shines. Because local organizations can adopt a duck to customize its appearance. Now, Jeep owners have been doing this with regular rubber ducks for a long time. This image I have here is what's called Jeep ducks. People that own Jeeps get really into customizing different ducks and I think trading them or displaying them on their dashboard. Now imagine if local businesses could do that with giant ducks that are cleaning the lake. Yeah, picture a fire department duck, a high school football duck, an assisted living duck, and a coffee shop duck all floating together under a bridge. Now, I don't know about you, but that's something that I would pull the car over for and get my phone out and take a video immediately because that sounds adorable. These ducks on the lake will represent the community that's cleaning it. That's why this is going to work. That's why it should have already been happening a long time ago. It's a perfect idea. It's adorable. And people aren't going to be thinking about it cleaning the environment. They're going to think about it like advertising. Now, the primary offenders in the lake that we're going to tackle with this are the harmful algae blooms, or HABs. We have some naturally occurring amoebas and bacteria in here. Remember, I told you about the amoeba? There's some household chemicals like pesticides and oil and grease and gasoline and cleaners. There's also some industrial chemicals like chromium, tetrachloroethene, and trichloroethene. I said those words perfect, first try. Now, the specifics of the ducks. We're going to break down how much it's going to cost to make each duck into only 8 pieces, and it totals about $500. Spoiler, the shell, first of all, is going to be made by recycled polyethylene, which is the same stuff that kayaks are made out of, because it doesn't break down in the water and it's easy to mold. That's about $100. Solar panel and batteries, you know that, $100. Filtration system, including the biochar, the microbial sponge, $75. An aeration pump, which is gonna, pump the water, $50. The buoy hardware, like ropes and anchors and brackets and sealants and stuff like that, $50. Electronics and sensors, $50. Paint and wrap, 50. Maintenance. Now, this one is kind of important. The maintenance is going to primarily need to be done by the community. Now, I'm thinking either community college or high school STEM clubs or general volunteers. Maybe someone from each local organization that wants to come replace the filter. Maybe touch up any of the decorum that's on it. That's where the $25 comes in for each duck. That's right, these are $500 birds. We'll only need to make 1 or 2 of them as prototypes and then open up the market to local businesses. Because for about $500, they can acquire a duck and customize it within environmentally conscious bounds to advertise their organization. Like I was saying before, this way we're cleaning the lake as a form of advertising. Businesses will be happy to be featured in many a photo from both tourists and locals delighted to see giant rubber ducks floating down the river. This is my idea, and I think I would probably be the greatest contender for people that are going to pull over their car or stop whatever they are doing. Anything that I'm doing, I'm going to stop what I'm doing so that I can take a picture of giant rubber ducks floating down the river. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. I can't think of anything else that I would stop and take a picture of more than that. Now, here's a crude drawing of what's going to go on inside the bird as far as I can tell. Water is going to be pumped in through the bottom, sort of like a mechanical buoy filter shape thing, but it's inside the duck, and most of it's underwater. Now, through that filter, it's going to be the biochar, where the water is going to go through that, enter the microbial chamber, where it's treated with good bacteria, and measured for its acidity, temperature, and turbidity, which turbidity, being a fun word to say, means the opaqueness of the water. And then after all that, the water is going to be shot out through the posterior pump, as it does, ensuring the duck stays in steady motion. All of it solar powered. You can see the solar panel on the back of that duck, including its RFID and location tracking system, which we'll get into right now with an app called the Flock, because it tracks all the birds. Each bird will have a solar panel sensor that tracks its location and progress, allowing anyone in the community to see where their favorite duck is, how much it's cleaned up, and which other ducks it spends most of its time with. I, for one, think the most interesting thing about checking on your duck is going to be finding out which ducks it spends its time with. Like, imagine a teacher pulling up the Flock app to show this class that the school's duck has been hanging out with the ice cream duck, and today, the hospital duck is leading the flock in pollution filtration. If I had a sandwich shop and I had a sandwich shop duck and I checked the app and I saw that my sandwich shop duck had a best friend and that best friend was the library duck, that would make my whole week. I would love to know that the sandwich duck is hanging out with the library duck. That's adorable. I'm not even thinking about the fact that they're cleaning the lake. Just that, I might be able to, on my lunch break at work, go see my duck hanging out with the library duck, floating down the river together. Yes, please, I'll take a bunch of pictures of that. Now, there's going to be some bonuses in case certain local organizations want to splurge on some extra bells and whistles. They'll be able to purchase add-ons ranging from beacon lights and aquatic plant rings to more cosmetic fun attachments like flags and pinwheels. Now, before you ask, a beacon light, like at the top of a lighthouse, so you can see where it's at night. If I was going for a night walk and I saw a light flashing like that at the river, of course I'm going to check it out. And nothing would delight me more to see in the river than a bunch of giant rubber ducks and aquatic plant rings. This is an interesting idea. Imagine a sort of lifesaver, the round ones that go around your waist. Imagine one of those around a duck, but it's full of plants. It's already going to look adorable, like the plant is in a, or like the duck is in a small garden, and it's bringing its garden of plants with it. But also, aquatic plants are perfect for cleaning up the water. Plants are natural filtration systems. This way, your duck is kind of bringing its own scene with it everywhere it goes. It's perfect. And then if you want to put like a flag on it or a pinwheel, sure, why not? Here's some sources. Most of it I got from local news organizations, and then at the bottom there is a URL for the Jeep Ducks. My name is Taylor Kelty. Thank you for checking out my plan to save Lake Havasu.